Good evening and welcome to the Town of Riverhead Planning Board. Today is Thursday, June 2nd, 2022. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we begin, I need to let everyone know that there was a power outage here yesterday at Town Hall, and it affected part of the system for the internet and the video feed. So there will be no live internet or video feed. We do still have access to the Zoom, so if you need to contact us somehow, you can do it through the Zoom, and I don't know exactly how you're going to be able to do that, but we just wanted to state for the record that there is an issue with that this evening. Tonight we have a few public hearings. I'm going to start with calling up 680 Elton Street. I believe Mr. Cuddy is here.
Good evening, I'm Charles Cuddy. I represent 680 Elton Street. We have an application before...
Can anybody hear what's going on in this meeting?
No, nothing.
You can't hear me?
Okay, that makes all of us then.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can't hear a thing either.
Okay. Thank you.
Guess I'll have to dial back in again. Maybe they forgot about us or dropped us.
No,
Yeah.
they're on here. They're on
Yeah, they're
here.
on.
Muted too.
Oh. Oh. Yeah, I'm driving.
I could see the meetings taking place, but I can't hear anything.
Oh, okay. Sorry, yeah, I had to dial in. I'm on the road.
Okay.
Okay, I'll start again. Hey, I'm Charles Cuddy.
Meeting's live now.
Mr. Cuddy, I
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, it's live, but you can't hear the meeting.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, the meeting is all the way over here. And they muted, somebody muted them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see the mute on their side.
They don't seem to have their microphone turned on so that we can hear them.
No,
Or
I
speaker.
think that guy is trying to get it to unmute.
Shouldn't be that difficult. There you go. Oh, now he went back off again. There you go. He's on now.
This is called the sideshow.
Okay? I'm the same person.
Town is unmuted now, but I don't hear him saying anything.
Okay.
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear me now?
It's not us. It's whoever is running the...
That's correct, yes.
And this should be...
As you guys know.
Is that mic on? I don't want to button.
I thought they were all muted. So did I. It doesn't appear that way.
Can you hear us now?
Hands up.
And they were all muted. You can't tell.
Yeah, maybe if we all put our hands up, they'll shift the page.
Yeah.
It's not muted.
Come on, Sid.
All right, try that.
Okay? I'll try it now.
People on Zoom can't hear anything, Town of Riverhead.
It's on the right, it's on the right mic. It must not be on.
Could that have been affected with what happened yesterday with the power outage?
Because it says it's on the
There's not a chat section either.
I know,
Which is odd.
and it's not on TV either.
Right.
However, maybe what they're figuring out, we can hold the public hearings and move on to discussion, which doesn't have to be on Zoom.
It's on the mic, Larry, on the notes. Yeah.
Okay.
Plugged in? Yeah, it's on.
While we try to figure this out, Mr. Cuddy, would it be all right with you if
This
we
is
could
unreal.
put this to the side for the
That's
moment,
fine.
and then we'll
Oh,
get back
he's
to
checking
you?
something under the table.
I apologize to you.
Can you mute them?
Okay. You don't have it, right?
Does anybody have anybody's cell phone there? No?
You know,
Technology, shut them all down.
That's what I would do, turn them right off and try it again, and that's it.
I don't think they can.
Can't have the public hearing without this.
Oh, I see.
Greg, can we move on to the discussion items? Let them figure out what's going on. Okay, the first discussion item this evening is Dish Wireless at Wading River Plant Number 9. We will go back to the public hearing shortly.
Good evening, everyone. For the record, Heather Chochanowski, site plan reviewer. Can everybody hear me? Yes. Okay. So this is a site plan application proposing to modify an existing wireless communications facility on a town-owned water tower. The proposed modifications will be made to an existing telecommunications facility on an 0.86 acre parcel, more particularly identified as Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-57-1.1-1.5. The water tower parcel is located within the Great Rock Golf Course up in Wading River. Access is taken via a dirt road between two residential properties on Great Rock Drive, and it goes through an existing parcel, drainage parcel owned by the town of Riverhead. And there is another point of access also taken in Lewin Hills between the intersection of Gerald Street and Oakwood Drive. The facility is presently improved with an 81-foot tall water tower. There's existing wireless equipment mounted on it, as well as ground-mounted equipment, a wireless communication shed, and a water district shed.
Barbara Blass, who's there, reports they know that we can't hear them and they're working on it.
Thank you.
The subject
That keeps the
property
meeting
is...
anyway.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Color me paranoid.
Hey, I'm feeling you.
I like that guy. So continue, the subject property is located within the Residence B80 zoning use district. There is a major residential subdivision identified as the Sound Breeze subdivision located directly to the northwest of the water district parcel. The golf course is the main use of the area to the south, and then there's a large wooded agricultural lot located to the west of the subject parcel. So Dish Wireless is coming in. They are co-locating some of the equipment. So the proposed work consists of the co-location of 3 new antennas, 6 new RRHs, 3 new OVPs, which are over voltage protectors, 3 new cable mounting trays, and a new mounting assembly. Ground-mounted equipment to be installed includes an equipment platform, 1 new equipment cabinet, an H-frame, 1 new power protection cabinet, a network interface unit, new fiber telco enclosure, a new GPS unit, and 3 new underground PVC conduits. All of the other existing antennas and equipment will remain and will not be changed. Because this is a water tower owned by the town of Riverhead, we did receive a completed owner's endorsement. With the site plan application, it was signed by the superintendent of the water district. The site plan and the application were both referred to the water district on May 18th, 2022, just waiting for written comments from them. Pat O'Rourke did provide a copy of the site plan today.
I just got a message that they're...
Okay. Yesterday, we did receive plans stamped
Just
by
lost
one
you.
of the engineers from H2M, which is the Water District's consulting engineer.
I just had
saying
a
that
message
construction
that
is
they are
okay to
putting
proceed,
aside the
but I would
public
like
hearing
something
and
in
working
writing
on the
from Water
technical
District.
problem.
So that'll be a condition of approval.
We're doing it. Okay, sure.
Good, okay. The proposed action is unlisted pursuant to SECRA, so coordinated review is optional and not recommended for this application. So we're recommending that the planning board assume lead agency status and also issue a negative declaration pursuant to SECRA as no significant environmental impacts are expected. Going over the RF EME analysis report that was received, dated March 9th, 2022. It analyzed the potential RF exposure at the site from the proposed Dish wireless communications equipment and a worst-case modeling for all other carriers on the existing tower. The maximum cumulative RF exposure levels from all existing and proposed antennas from all carriers at the site will not exceed the maximum permissible exposure levels for the FCC public or FCC occupational standards on the ground. We also received a mounting analysis letter, which analyzed the new antenna mounting and new ground-mounted equipment supports, and it was determined that they do have the capacity to withstand the anticipated dead and wind load ratings. Well, we did not receive a structural analysis report, but Pat said he would be happy to provide that as a condition of approval prior to the issuance of a building permit. So we are recommending that the applicant submit a structural analysis prepared and endorsed by a New York State professional engineer as a condition of the approval. So this is a pretty straightforward application. Do you have any questions for myself?
Who's the other gentleman with you?
My name is Pat O'Rourke. I'm representing Dish Wireless. Patrick O'Rourke.
All the appropriate architects and engineers have stamped this?
Yes. H2M is the consultant for the town, so we'll be dealing with Joseph Monero. I'll get her a hard copy of the stamped drawings and I guess an email from them saying everything's all right? An email.
Does this site have a generator?
We don't have there might be generators with the other carriers, but right now Dish is not proposing generators when they build their sites.
There's quite a bit of equipment coming from them.
Actually, Dish it's one antenna a sector and a real small footprint, but we're leasing space to add additional equipment eventually, because we're a new network. So they're just trying to get those antennas up, and once the network's working, they're going to figure out what they need from there.
Okay.
I do not have any questions.
The only way we can approve it is subject to receiving that report from the...
We've already ordered the structural analysis.
He was made aware of that before I even wrote my staff report. So the 3 conditions that I have listed on my staff report are also conditions on the resolution that I will have before the board.
Wonderful.
And I'll be in front of you again. Dish is building a lot of sites in the town of Riverhead,
Yes,
so
yes.
I'm learning the process.
Okay.
Let's
Thank
see you again then.
I apologize for the interruptions.
It makes it fun.
You handled yourself. Okay, since we have you up here still, Heather, we have East End Commons, Suffolk County Social Services Site Plan Application. Heather, if you could just have them state their name.
If you gentlemen have cards, if you could give it to this stenographer, that'd be very helpful.
If you could just both state your name and titles for the record.
Dennis Flynn, Rosenbaum Design Group, architect for the project.
Christopher Bizagno, Robinson Muller Engineers, engineer for the project.
Thank you. So the planning department has received and reviewed a site plan application seeking approval to convert a portion of an existent vacant building, formerly Kmart, all of you are probably familiar with the site, from retail to office space, and perform exterior modifications, including the addition of a 145 square foot side vestibule, facade improvements, a new walkway, curving, accessible parking, and upgrades to all of the site lighting on the entire parcel. So that includes both the BJ side and the former Kmart side. The proposed action is considered unlisted pursuant to SECRA, so staff is recommending the planning board assume lead agency for this application without the need for coordinating review, and also issue a negative declaration as no significant environmental impacts are expected. So the subject parcel is identified as Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-109-1-19.6. The entire parcel is 31.64 acres, and it's located at 565-605 Old Country Road. It is presently approved with an 81,334 square foot retail building, which is BJ's, and a 108,865 square foot vacant building, which is the former Kmart, and related site improvements, including the parking lot and existing site lighting, drainage, etc. The subject property is located within the shopping center zoning use district. And I just wanted to make a note that during a site visit, it was noted that one of the existing light poles that I pointed out in my staff report did have an active osprey nest on top of it. I have this application on for approval with several conditions today, and one of the conditions is that this light pole in particular should remain untouched and be disconnected from the electrical circuit. I went back through aerial imaging, and the nest has been there since 2019. Adult ospreys nearly always return to their previous nesting site if a breeding season is successful, so I think it's important to keep this particular light pole undisturbed. Obviously, all of the other lights will be changed to become dark skies compliant, which will overall, there won't be any light trespass, they'll be height compliant, but this one in particular I would like to remain at the.
Heather, I'm just curious why we're waiving the public hearing requirement. Because we're talking about bringing social services into the backside of Oliver Street, which probably has 25 homes on it, and they're not going to have an option to find out what's going on. What is social service doing? Doing drug rehab?
No, it's offices, and offices and office-style campuses are permitted within the shopping center zoning use district as of right, in addition to retail, and it's only a portion of the building that's going to be converted to the
Yeah, I
to the
know. I'm
offices.
curious too who the other two tenants are that are going to be,
They're not yet identified,
Right.
but they were put down as
Because they're gonna be
retail.
next to social services, I think that's also a concern. Who are they going to get? But I'm very concerned about doing this without a public hearing, so just,
Should the board decide not to want to do that,
that's just my opinion, you know.
okay. Landscaping, they're not proposing anything new. There are shrubs and existing landscaped islands, and as I was driving around the parking lot, I noticed particularly at intersections between the parking lot and that main perimeter driveway, some of the shrubs do need to be significantly cut back to a height of 3 feet. That would also be a condition of approval, just to allow for proper visibility. People fly through that driveway that circumvents the parking lot. If you're trying to make a left or a right out of some of the parking aisles, it's very difficult to see.
One other suggestion, I think in the body of the resolution, we should include what the uses are at social services, what activities will actually be taking place there.
Okay.
Just so it's black and white.
Is this social services that is currently located on East Main Street in Riverhead, are they being moved over to the Kmart?
Yes.
Correct, yes.
So they're actually going to have just regular people coming in, coming off of the buses on 58, the public transportation, as they do on East Main Street. I work in that area and I see them all the time. They're going to be coming through the parking lot in front of BJ's to come over to this office complex.
It's the same operation. I don't know the ins and outs of how people get there, but it's the same
This is where they
office.
distribute checks to social service recipients, or they come
Again,
in
we'd
for
have
that?
we'd have to elaborate and get a list of the functions that occur there. But it is primarily offices. It is for people to come and meet with counselors there, yes.
Okay, I think that we need more information, and I do agree with Mr. Demiseski that a public hearing should follow this.
Yes.
Resolution.
You
So
say that
it's-
most of the clients come by bus,
Why I said that.
because I assume that bus runs along Old Country Road.
So Suffolk bus does, I've seen the bus travel through that shopping center.
Yes.
Travel along that outside perimeter.
It does have a
That
stop.
bus has an existing bus route.
It
through
does,
that
yes.
shopping
It's Suffolk S8.
Yeah,
They go
Does it
into
actually
the
stop,
shopping
or
center?
is,
I believe it's.
That's
I believe
part of
it's-
the
I mean,
route?
I don't see why it would just cut through the parking lot, but I know on a number of occasions, I've seen that bus travel there.
Well, the reason I bring it up is that they're just going to go on Old Country Road and not into this facility. Anybody getting off there is going to have one heck of a walk to get to the office.
I can check the bus schedule. And I can research.
the location.
And verify that they do stop within the actual shopping
Yeah,
center.
because that really would be really be a long walk from Old Country Road.
I would just offer the board for other applications to reuse existing vacant buildings with, minor modifications to the outside. The board has previously waived the requirements for a public hearing. We did for the Lidl.
think it's the building that's the concern. I think it's the uses, the lack of knowledge that we have, what they're gonna do, and the lack of the community having any input on a controversial use. That's, like I said, that's just my opinion.
As far as the remainder of the site is concerned, they have more than enough adequate parking for this proposed use. The existing parking lot has 949 stalls. The total number of parking stalls for all existing and proposed uses on the site, so for the office and for all of the other retail, would be 804, so they don't need to add any additional parking. Architectural Review Board did review the elevations and drawings that the applicants provided at their meeting on May 25th. They found the plans acceptable and no changes were required by them, so they gave final approval. Are there any other questions as far as, editing the draft resolution and then possibly going for a public hearing?
You might want to consider just passing a public hearing and announcement tonight instead of what's here, but that's the suggestion.
Well, I think it would be interesting to know exactly what they're doing
Exactly.
there, and
Right.
how many people, buses, and, it's a whole different,
Right, there's a lot
it's a whole
more to
different
it.
thing.
If it's in the body of the resolution, then it'll be clear.
I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
June is a long month, so the board would not have to pass a public hearing resolution tonight. The board could pass a resolution to schedule a public hearing at the next meeting, and you would be able to make the posting dates for the first meeting in July. So you don't, the board, the desires of a public hearing would not have to pass that resolution tonight.
Okay,
Fine.
That'll work,
that works for us.
that'll work.
And the other thing, Heather, we just want to know what the uses are so we can put it in the body of the resolution. Please.
Do you guys have anything to add as far as?
I don't think so. We're going to provide a description of the operation, the access to the site. Is it my understanding this is pushed to the next meeting to decide whether a public hearing will be required? Or is
That's
that
at the discretion
decided?
of the board. If you would like, I'll draft a public hearing resolution and have it on for
Yes.
the next meeting.
Yes.
Okay, so it will be going for a public hearing.
And then somebody from the county should be attending that hearing to just provide the description.
Okay. Okay,
We fixed the audio, so
good.
people
Okay.
in Zoom land should.
Thank you.
Thank you for this evening.
Madam Chair, we're good, so if you want to go back to the hearing.
Yes,
Thank you. We're going to start with 680 Elton
yes.
and then Hope Dental? Okay,
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we apologize that we had some technical difficulties. We are up and running now, so we are going to return back to the public hearing. And I would like to call Mr. Cuddy up for 680 Elton Street.
Good move, Tim.
Let's
Good
try this
evening.
again.
Charles Cuddy, 445 Griffin Avenue, Riverhead, New York, for the Signature Partners, who are the owners of this site. We had submitted an application, and there has developed a concern with the scope and nature of what was in our application. And based on that, we now believe that we should be going before the Zoning Board of Appeals to determine exactly the nature of the use that's allowed at this site. And so tonight, we're asking for the board to adjourn this hearing so that we can go before the zoning board.
But we're not going to adjourn it, I think we're going to cancel it, Mr. Cuddy, right?
Okay,
You'll have to
you can-
renotice it.
That's fine. I don't mean in the sense that we would not notice it again. That's
Right, I
correct.
just want to make sure it's clear. to
Yes.
everyone.
Yeah,
It's not
that's
going to be a new date. It's just
That's
gonna
right.
be canceled. And
That's right.
Okay,
we didn't open the
we
hearing.
didn't open it.
We're just going to mark it off the agenda.
Okay, that's fine.
You don't need a vote, just mark it off the agenda.
It's being marked off the agenda.
You need a vote.
I did not open the public hearing, and if you'd like to say something, please come up to the podium.
Later on.
I'm sorry, not at this time, at the time
I'll
that,
just do it now.
well, excuse me.
Excuse me.
I am telling you right now that I would like you to either sit down or you may leave the meeting.
Okay, you are not the boss of me, but okay, Mr. Cuddy.
Actually, I'm the boss of this meeting.
Oh, that's right. Let's ask him.
Okay. At this time, we're going to move on to our other public hearing, which is Hoag Dental Site Plan Application.
Are you opening up a hearing today?
No.
Okay.
No,
It'll be
the applicant has
renoticed when
requested
it's
not
coming
to.
I guess dinner is on you guys, right? For all the people that came here?
Let's go. Peanut butter jelly. It's a little common courtesy, it's really not.
Okay. If we're ready to proceed, okay, sorry.
Go ahead, Heather.
Thank you. This is a public hearing for the site plan application of Hoag Dental, which is an application seeking approval to construct a one-story, 2,225 square foot medical office building with an unfinished basement for mechanicals and storage, along with site improvements such as landscaping, lighting, and stormwater management systems on a parcel of land better known as Suffolk County Tax Map Number 103-1-4, on the west side of Roanoke Avenue, also known as County Road 73, approximately 360 feet south of Old Country Road, County Road 58. And for the record, the planning department has received the affidavit of posting, photos, and all certified mailing receipts for this hearing. The subject property is a 14,250 square foot, mostly cleared vacant parcel of land within the professional business zoning use district, where offices for dentists are a permitted use. The project as proposed would not be out of character with the surrounding area, since there are other professional offices such as Chat's, Site MD, and East End Pulmonary Care along Roanoke Avenue, and a commercial shopping center directly to the north. We do have a representative here for the application, so without further ado, I'll hand it off to Mr. Jim DeLuca.
Thank you.
Basically,
Sir, just state your name, please.
it's Jim DeLuca. I'm the architect. I live at 12 Linda Lane East in Riverhead.
Thanks.
This project has been around for a while. It was first approved in July 5th, 2006 by the town board. Property was sold, Dr. Howe, and now it's being resurrected. He's going to occupy the building himself. He's moving from his present location right across, it's a couple hundred feet down the road. He's moving from the east side to the west side. At present, we've been to the Architecture Review Board. We have, a town engineer looked at the site improvements and had no comment. The fire marshal has also looked at the proposed building with very little comment. And Suffolk County DPW looked at the site, and the only change they're requiring is when we first did the site plan years ago, they wanted a right turn only. I met with them. They have abandoned that right turn only, and they want a 35-foot access driveway, and you can turn either way. So they're eliminating right turn only on Roanoke Avenue. And if the board has any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer it.
Does your latest plan reflect that change?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, does your latest plan reflect that change?
No, I was gonna finish here tonight and then revise it with the one driveway. It's actually almost the same width, except we're taking out the median
Yeah,
and the...
no, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I have no issues.
I'm good. What's going to happen to his other office?
The other building?
Yeah.
I have no idea. It's not owned by the
Oh, it isn't?
doctor.
Okay.
No, he's renting.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, he's renting.
Are you the only one here to speak on this evening?
I guess so.
Everybody
Did you
has
say
their hand.
no?
Nobody has
Oh,
their
okay,
hand.
I'm sorry. One opposed?
Yep.
Okay, I'd like to close the public hearing for 680 Elton Street. So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, vote please. Bear?
Yes?
O'Day?
Yes.
Nenaro?
Aye.
Nacesky?
Aye.
Woski? Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we will go back to our discussion items. And let's see, we have 219-2022.
Joanne?
Yes,
He's not present yet, he's on his way.
He's on his way,
Do you mind
okay.
waiting until the end, so you can do it last, if that's okay?
yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, we'll go back to that one.
I apologize, I know I'm out of order. I wonder if the planning board would indulge me just one question. I'm a deputy town attorney, I'm just seeking a clarification on 680. So can I ask,
Sorry, ma'am, just state your name.
sure, Anne Marie Prudenti, deputy town attorney, town of Riverhead. The planning board used the term that the public hearing was canceled. Can I ask, am I to interpret that the application has been withdrawn? Because it wasn't adjourned, it was canceled. So is the, quote, site plan application that had been before you, is it deemed withdrawn by the planning board?
No. The hearing is canceled. He may or may not amend the application, and in either event, he needs to renotice the hearing and
Okay.
start the process over. And that was, Mr. Cuddy understands that, the applicant,
Okay.
who's represented by him.
So one further question, if the application is amended, then obviously the environmental review process
Would have to
will
start over.
commence again.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we are going to go on to Holly Estates, which we have Greg Bergman.
So, as the board recalls, back in 2019 in November,
Recording in progress.
the board granted approval for a 3-lot minor subdivision for a property located on Route 25A in Wading River. It was a subdivision application which approved a 3-lot minor subdivision of the 6 acres. This is an application that was originally handled by Sean Walter. As he was elected a town justice, he can no longer represent the application. We did receive correspondence from the property owner, and I've been in discussion with her attorney, Kim Judd. They've been experiencing a series of issues relating to getting final health department approval for the subdivision. They're having a number of difficulties, namely with getting their land surveyor to make required changes. So they did submit a request for an extension of the subdivision approval. The board has granted 4 previous subdivision extension approvals for this application. The facts and the matters of the application and the property are still the same as they were as when the subdivision was originally approved. So I do have a resolution on to grant another extension. They are looking now to retain a new land surveyor to enact those changes that are required to get them over the finish line. So we just have a resolution on tonight to grant a fifth extension. It would grant a 180-day extension and allow them to finalize it, get it approved by the health department, and filed with the county clerk.
That sounds good to me.
He's had several hardships.
Oh, all right. We actually just went over it.
We just did Holly Estates.
Oh, you just did it?
Yeah,
Okay. Are you all done, or do I have to
No.
go?
We're not done.
you're good.
Thank you.
Did you have a question, George?
The question I had is that he seems to have the same hardships all the time. I get it, I understand. You know, but it's, you know, at some point now we're issuing 2 90-day extensions for 6 months. What do we do if he comes back and says he has problems with this guy?
So New York town law, I believe it's section 276, does grant the planning board the authority to grant extensions. It does not set a limit on the number of the extensions the planning board can grant.
So we're not out of line.
No. And this property owner, you know, I am sympathetic to him. Previously, there were health issues, the passing of his wife. There's been a number of hardships, not just related to the land surveyor, but the land surveyor has been responsible basically for the last year of delays, so.
And there also haven't been any zoning changes or anything?
Correct, no zoning
Not-
changes, the facts of the matter, so.
Okay.
It's really a series of unfortunate events for him, so.
Okay. I don't want to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Silverback Holdings LLC.
All right, so Silverback Holdings, the board recalls, is a 2-lot minor subdivision application seeking approval to subdivide the property, colloquially known as the Polish Hall property. Right now, there are 2 buildings that exist on the property, the main Polish Hall building, and there's a smaller, single-story wood frame building that's had a number of uses over the years. Googie and Gus's flooring, you know, way back in the day. The Polish Hall is seeking to subdivide it. They're basically looking to split off that separate single-story wood frame building, create its own lot. That would have a size of 0.34 acres, and then the main Polish Hall property would be 1.49 acres. They required a zoning board of appeals variance for exceeding allowable impervious coverage, as well as for an undersized lot for that existing single-story frame building. They received their zoning board of appeals determination earlier this month. So it's just an update. We now are in a position where we can schedule a public hearing on the subdivision application and move that forward.
Okay, I'm ready for the public hearing.
Yep.
Good.
And right now that exists, the other building is just empty.
Correct. Both, the
being
building
used
right
for
now
storage.
does not have any CFOs, and really throughout history, it's an issue that they need to address. They need to apply for an LPEU. That building has been there. I can trace back aerials. I believe there's a 1947 aerial on Suffolk County GIS, so it clearly predates zoning. There's no question that the building pre-exists. They just need to establish a letter of pre-existing use for the building, and then make any type of building permit applications for whatever use they do intend to put in there.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Let's move on to 48 Cromer LLC with Jefferson Murphy.
48 Cromer.
Sorry, it was conversation.
Did the AC break when the computers went down yesterday?
The ACs over in the building department are working just fine. So,
There goes your raise.
Thank you, Jeff.
yeah. Does everybody have a copy of the resolution? I have hard copies here if anybody needs a copy.
We got 'em.
You're all good?
We got 'em.
Okay. Jefferson Murphy for the record. The applicant, Ray Dickoff, and the architect, Marty Saluski, are also in the audience this evening if there's a technical question about the application. This is a resolution for final site plan approval. This was subject to a special permit approved by the town board back in September 15th, 2020. Town board also issued a negative declaration back in February of 2020. That was for, as you recall, for a very large propane facility with a 2,000 square foot, 3,004 square foot industrial building, and 9 30,000 gallon storage, liquid propane storage tanks. The applicant revised the application to where it is today, which is reducing,
Excuse me, if you could keep your comments down, I would appreciate it.
the applicant reduced the number of storage tanks down to 6 tanks, which is what you currently have before you today. The applicant also made other changes to the site to reduce the potential impacts. And on October 21st of last year, the planning board approved the preliminary site plan application. In April of this year, the town board approved a resolution granting a 2-year extension of the special permit. All of the railroad cars that were there, consisting of 2 cabooses and 1 boxcar, have been removed. A SWIP has been approved by the town engineer, and the Architectural Review Board has granted final approval back in May 25th. The resolution before you today, most of the conditions you see before you are your standard template conditions. There are 2 minor ones that are unique to this property. One is that there should be no propane transferred from this property. 2 are from the adjacent property. That's the Power Code site plan. We don't want any transferring of propane back and forth across the property line. And number 2 is there is a DEC restoration plan to the north because it's in a well-scenic recreation area. And we just like to see an irrigation plan to make sure that the seeds that they plant sprout and become established. And that is it. The site plan was revised only minor to just for clarification purposes, but it is largely substantially in conformance with what you approved last
So
year.
you've dotted all the i's and crossed all the t's?
Yes.
I do not have any questions on this.
Nope.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are we able to go back to, yes,
I believe it is number 3. And Mr. Mufon just entered the room, so I think we're good to go,
perfect
just on
timing.
time. All right. So I hope everyone got the opportunity to review the revised staff report and decision that I sent on this. It's a little bit different here. We have 2 separate 219 applications. Typically, when the board looks at these, from what I've looked at, if an applicant's requesting multiple permits or doing multiple things within the coastal erosion hazard area, it would all fall under one permit. This is a little different because they're also, the applicant also wants to do a pool and patio in the coastal erosion hazard area, which is not expressly permitted by 219. You can do walkways, you can do some expansion, but in this bluff area, you're not allowed to do a pool. So that's why I've sort of separated it, but covered it in one report.
okay, if you wouldn't mind just letting us know exactly which one you're reporting on. I know
Sure.
we're saying number 3, but
Number 3, this is MUNFA Chapter 219 for deck and stairs application and pool and patio for 408 Sound Shore Road, Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-7-10. It's a 1.24 acre parcel in Jamesport. So as I said before, 2 applications here, one for deck and stairs, which were built without the benefit of a permit or without the benefit of a 219, and the second, which is for a pool in the jurisdictional area, which is not permitted expressly. So my recommendations, we didn't get anything back from Vinnie Gaudiello, the town's consulting engineer, in regard to the deck and stairs which are existing. So my recommendations to the board is to adopt a secret determination as a neg deck for the deck and stairs so they can legalize them and then get a building permit. The applicant can proceed with the ZBA for the pool and patio because they're also the Coastal Erosion Hazard Board of Review. However, the burden for getting relief from that section is much higher than your standard variance from the zoning code. So you basically have to have no other option to locate one of your improvements in order to get the relief. So it's my recommendation that the applicant relocate the pool and patio so it's outside of jurisdiction and seek variances from the ZBA for the zoning code.
So tonight we'll just look at the first.
Yeah, we're just looking to approve, tonight I'm recommending the approval just for the deck and the stairs.
Does any portion of the stairs go beyond their property?
It does not. It ends right at the bottom. There's actually a monument just beyond the stairs at the bottom.
Doesn't it inhibit the public's ability to use it?
No.
okay.
Thank you.
Looks
Good.
good.
You're welcome.
Okay, Now we're going to move on to public comments on the resolutions. This is for the resolutions only. Do we have anyone? Okay. Let's move on to the resolutions.
Make a motion to move resolution number 50 for Dish Wireless at Wading River Plant 9. So moved.
Second?
Vote please, Bear.
Yes.
O'Day.
Yes.
Nenaro.
Aye.
Dennisesky.
Aye.
Woski, aye.
Resolution 51. No. 52. Did they vote? The applicant removed it from the agenda. So do, what are we doing now? 48 Chrome? Yep. That's, we've been down that block before a few times. Resolution to approve a final site plan application to demolish an existing building and construct a 180,000-gallon liquid propane facility consisting of 6 30,000-gallon storage tanks, 1 38,472 industrial building, and 9,901 square feet empty portable storage tank areas. Landscaping, lighting improvements on a 176,218 square foot parcel in the Industrial A zoning district. On the east side of Cromer Avenue, that's approximately 30 feet north of the Long Island Railroad tracks, who are active there. That's it.
I'll second it.
Okay, vote please. Bear.
Yes.
O'Day.
Yes.
Nenaro.
Aye.
Dennisesky.
Aye.
Woski, yes.
I'll move resolution number 53, which is grant the fifth extension of approval for minor subdivision of Holly Estates.
Second motion?
Vote please, Bear.
Yes.
O'Day.
Yes.
Nenaro.
Aye.
Dennisesky.
Aye.
Woski, yes.
On this next, before we get into this next resolution, I'd just like to see if I can ask Greg some questions. As soon as he's done fooling around there.
Greg, Mr. Bear has some questions on the current resolution.
What was that, sorry?
On the impact statement, of the scoping, I just want to be sure, because I had mentioned this before, that on page 4, that we mentioned the Suffolk County Sewer Agency, because they also do sewage treatment plants in addition to the health department. The applicant can make an application to those people, and then it would be a county-run plant.
I will amend it to
Okay.
reflect Suffolk County Sewer Agency.
And the second comment was with regard to the traffic, to be sure that New York State DOT is contacted either before, during, or after the traffic impact study is done. Somehow they have to become part of
Well,
this.
they did receive a copy of the draft scope. They will receive, once the board adopts it, they will receive a copy of the final scope, and they will receive a copy of all DEISs and FEISs. And the purpose of that is to receive their comments, keep them involved during the secret review process.
Thank you. That's all. With that, I'll move the resolution number 54, final scope sequel for the Calverton Industrial Subdivision.
I'll second it.
Vote please, Bear.
Yes.
O'Day.
Yes.
Nenaro.
Aye.
Dennisesky.
Aye.
Woski, yes.
I'll move resolution number 55 for Monkfa for the deck and stairs, classified action pursuant to secret. So moved.
Second.
Vote please, Bear.
Yes.
O'Day.
Yes.
Nenaro.
Aye.
Dennisesky.
Aye.
Woski, yes.
I'll move resolution 56, Silverback Holding, to schedule a public hearing for the 2-lot minor subdivision. So moved.
Second.
Vote please, Bear.
Yes.
O'Day.
Yes.
Nenaro.
Aye.
Dennisesky.
Aye.
Woski, yes.
I'll move resolution 57 for Riverhead PGC LLC, Riverhead Plaza Restaurant Depot, to assume lead agency and issue a negative deck for a site plan to approve and improvements on an existing commercial building. So moved.
Second motion?
Vote please, Bear.
Yes.
O'Day.
Yes.
Nenaro.
Aye.
Dennisesky.
Aye.
Woski, yes.
I'll move resolution number 58, which schedule a public hearing for Riverhead PGC LLC or the Restaurant Depot conversion and site improvement.
I'll second it.
Vote please, Bear.
Yes.
O'Day.
Yes.
Nenaro.
Aye.
Dennisesky.
Aye.
Woski, yes. Okay, before we move on to the public comments, Greg?
Yes, I would like to just explain for the sake of the public. I understand many people are here. I understand people came out for a public hearing tonight. Us, as a planning department, as a board, I feel like we would be remiss if we didn't explain what has happened in the interim leading up to this planning board meeting. When the application for 680 Elton Street came in, it was initially represented to the planning department and to the planning board as an indoor shooting range. An interpretation was made by the zoning officer that an indoor shooting range was interpreted as to be an indoor recreation facility, which is permitted in the CRC zoning use district. Since the initial application was submitted and recent events have happened, it has come to our attention that the applicant was planning on retail sales of firearms at the location, which was never disclosed in any project documentation. It was not indicated on any environmental assessment forms or any application forms. When the applicant was made aware of this afternoon, the applicant requested to adjourn the hearing. I believe they want to amend their application to accurately reflect what their proposed use of the building is, and it would really be inappropriate to hold a public hearing on something that is been adjourned by the applicant and will be amended. So I wanted to get ahead of it. I respect the public's time for being here. I welcome public involvement, but I wanted to get ahead of the issue and explain what happened so that everyone is aware. We don't operate in dark. We want to be transparent. So that's just a brief explanation of what's transpired since the last time this was discussed and why that applicant chose to adjourn their public hearing. So that's it.
Thank you, Greg. Okay. If anyone would like to come up on the public comments on all matters, there's someone else up here already. I ask that you not take a lot of time up there. There's quite a few people here. I'd like to keep this meeting moving, and I would respectfully ask that nobody attack any members of this board.
Got it.
Thank you.
Good evening. Takri Turchin, somewhat wet and damp, but felt that the night, even though... Takri Turchin. Last name is Terchun. Thanks. I'm president of Calverton Civic. I'm here tonight as an individual, not representing the Civic, but what I'd like to ask is the question on the applicant tonight for this Elton Street property had a business elsewhere previously, is that correct? I believe it was at Grabeshka Airport in Southampton Town?
I had heard of it.
Okay. So I'm just learning as you're learning, and probably everybody else in the audience is learning. He probably had to go through site plan review before he went, before he went and put his business elsewhere previously. So I think he probably understood the process of what a planning board does and what a zoning board does, and I would wonder and ask if he would step forward and explain what he had to go through in order to get his business up and running at the previous location he had at Grabeshka Airport.
I think I can answer that.
Oh,
I'm
thanks.
not speaking for the applicant,
Okay.
just from my knowledge of the area.
Mhm.
That was a military base, and it was used for target practice even back then. So I think he took over, once the land was sold, took over a pre-existing non-conforming use. That's my knowledge of the area.
Could we, is the applicant here tonight?
I have no idea.
That's why he
Okay.
sent his attorney to adjourn.
Okay, perhaps his attorney could tell us, but I'd rather hear it from the applicant truly. But that's my question, is just that he probably had to go through procedures before, even though it was in a different town, and at the last moment to come up and say, hey, we want to adjourn because we just realized retail isn't part of what's appropriate for this application. It seems to me kind of I don't know, last minute. And I think somebody in this position would be doing a whole lot of research and homework to make sure that they're prepared for a night like tonight. Because certainly, you can see in the audience,
Excuse me.
folks are preparing
Yes.
themselves.
That's his job, this is our job. They're two totally different things. We had no idea that he was going to come in.
Absolutely,
and
understood.
Say what he said, and it has nothing to do with this board.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm just
So
curious.
I understand
Yeah.
your frustration, sincerely, I do.
Okay.
But to be yelling outside and causing a huge commotion is ridiculous.
Oh, I'm sorry, I arrived so late that I did not hear that. I was in the rain getting here.
Well,
So-
drive home carefully.
Pardon?
Drive home carefully.
Oh,
It's
thank
still
you very
raining out
much.
there,
But
I
if we
think.
could hear from the applicant as to why he wasn't prepared for what he really wanted to have here tonight, the public is certainly prepared because they did a little bit of homework. Okay, I'm the public, and I did a little homework too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is John Moran. I'm a resident of Mill Pond Commons, which is on Elton Street, directly across the street from this proposed indoor shooting range. I have been asked by my fellow board members to address the board here this evening on a few issues. Some of them I'll omit now as a result of the change in venue. But some years ago, I was involved in the planning and construction of the shooting range, police range in West Hampton Beach. And at the time, there were very stringent EPA regulations with regards to the venting inside an indoor range. There are lead particles and gases that, when vented, that need to be vented out of the building because they're unhealthy to breathe. And then there are restrictions with regards to what HEPA regulations apply to that venting. So certainly, if that is not part of this program, it really should be.
Excuse me, I'm just going to stop you there.
Sure,
Maybe you
okay.
can go into the meeting, the minutes from a prior meeting, and you can see that
Yeah, that
Mr. Bear
we
did
asked them that
address that.
question, and they
addressed
have
it.
addressed it, about the venting and ventilation and collection of particles, et cetera.
To your satisfaction?
Well, at least that's what they've said. We haven't seen it in writing, but it appears that way, yes.
Okay, thank you. Secondly, has a traffic impact study been done on Elton Street with regards to this?
Yes.
I have photographs here has a traffic impact study been done on Elton? Yes?
There was nothing that would rise to the level of requiring traffic impact statement.
No, sir.
They're not constructing a new building, so there was nothing that would.
But if it would involve more traffic on Elton Street, our point, try to understand, these are our homes. I represent 100 homeowners there and over 250 people who reside there, many of them children, and there are 5 bus stops there every morning, elementary, middle school, high school, BOCES, private and parochial, and then every afternoon. And the traffic on Elton, our board members have appeared before the town board many times asking for a 3-way stop sign, and have been repeatedly denied that. I don't know if this rises to that occasion, but we just had an accident in front of our place there that the police who responded to the overturned vehicle that caused $10,000 damage to our gate was going in excess of 70 miles an hour. It's clearly unsafe as it is, and then when you add more traffic to it, it just doesn't fit, in my opinion. Speaking privately, and this is not the opinion of my fellow board members, I have to think that there is a more rural location for this type of activity, be it a wooded area or abandoned farmhouse, that is not a populated area that would not affect so many people who reside right in that immediate area. And certainly incredibly poor judgment to be less than 1/8 of a mile from Pulaski Street Elementary School. That's all I have to say.
Pulaski Street Elementary School. No one here.
John McAuliffe from Roanoke Landing in Riverhead. We're talking about a location that is about a half a mile from here. Let's try and focus on what we're talking about. This is not very far. We've heard about the residential presence, but we also are close to this town hall and to a lot of other places that it just seems, it's very hard to imagine in the zoning for recreational that people had in mind a gun range. We already have at least 2 in Riverhead. Do we really need another one? There's also an anomaly I want to talk to. When I was looking, I didn't know where the address was, and on Google Maps, when you look at that address, it shows a Niasse firearms shop in that location. Now, I don't know whether Google can anticipate an intended use or whether there is something that's already there. There's not any sign outside of it. I drove by on my way here. But if you look at Google Maps, this Mr. Niasse has a photo up for a gun shop, and I'm not an expert in guns, but it certainly looks to me on the wall there are AR-15s. And I think that's the problem that you need to consider. There are moments in history when people make a decision about what they want their country to be like. And if our country at this point cannot make a decision that it is inappropriate to have a shop that is selling assault rifles, if it cannot decide that it's inappropriate to have a shooting range in a residential neighborhood a half a mile from town hall, it's inappropriate to have a place where people could be practicing or renting or buying a weapon that is a weapon of war that is responsible over and over and over again for mass casualties. I don't know when that happens. When does it happen? Who makes the decision? Who makes the choices about the kind of community that we're going to live in? I think it's not in your normal writ, but I think it is a responsibility that you have and that the town board has and the zoning board of appeals has. This is not an abstraction. It's something that is tearing apart our country. There was a kid arrested at the high school because of something he shouted, a 15-year-old kid.
Okay.
And I think we just need to think about the implications of the decisions that are being made. This is not appropriate.
Thank you for your comments.
Hey, John?
Don't answer.
Do you know what was in that building when it was chemical compound? A half mile from town hall?
No, but choices made 50 years ago, 30 years ago, are not the choices being made now. This amount of mass killing that is done with assault rifles. The Buffalo situation, we thought we were safe from by the law that was passed, but in fact, all the kid had to do was adapt that weapon, and all of a sudden he had a multi-shot assault weapon, and I think
This has
that's...
nothing to
Well, I
do
think
with
it
us
does. You
or right
can't
now.
say...
You have made your
can't
point.
say...
We understand.
All right.
Thank you very much
But
for your
don't say it
comments.
doesn't have anything to do to you, because you're a citizen of this country, a citizen of this
That is
town.
correct.
It is a moral and political responsibility on all of us to take control of the environment in which we live.
My name is Cindy Clifford. I'm a longtime resident of Riverhead. I'm a member of the new Heart of Riverhead Civic Association. I'm here for both reasons. I want to start by saying I'm not here to impede anybody's right to do business in our town, only to express concerns with this particular property as a location that doesn't align with the intent of the current CRC zoning code of the district. As I understand the code as it pertains to 680 Elton Street, the district permits residential housing and service-oriented businesses that support and serve those residents. Specifically, as stated in 30178, the purpose and intent of the commercial residential campus is to provide locations for offices and professional services which offer essential legal, medical, accounting, real estate, travel, and other services, and to provide additional housing alternatives convenient to services and arterials. 30179 spells out the use of the building structures and premises for residents and non-retail service businesses, places of worship, museums, parks and playgrounds. And in 2006, indoor sports and recreation facilities was added to the shopping center, business center, and CRC districts to allow for a potential bowling alley on Route 58. The transcript, which can be found in the minutes of the November 21st Town Board public hearing, the only speaker was lawyer Charles Cuddy, who we saw earlier tonight, who represented a potential client and saying, and I quote, "This would permit a bowling center. We can perhaps have indoor tennis, maybe even indoor swimming pools, and those types of things in the community would certainly be worthwhile, and I ask you to approve it." Resolution 1099 was approved, the code amended on December 5th, 2006. At the time, Mr. Cuddy also made a point that adding sports and recreation as a category was not just so maybe we could have an indoor swimming pool, but because he didn't think we needed an additional retail in other districts because we already have Route 58. It's not unreasonable to think that firearm use never occurred to Mr. Cuddy at the time, and it seems either strangely coincidental or just ironic that now he's representing the interests that are looking to expand on that definition. While CRC zoning does not include retail sales, the intention of this property clearly does, including retail gun sales, both as shown on their site plan as accessory use and as stated by Mr. Neosi in several local news articles. Given that the town is currently looking into where and when and how and what type of gun sales may or may not be permitted within various districts, we'd like you to consider tabling this project until such a time as zoning permissions are clear. Or if you're considering reclassifying a firearms training facility as sports and recreation, then we'd like you to at least consider reducing the retail use and scope as an accessory to the recreation, limiting it to minimal percentage of the space to sell accessories, t-shirts, water bottles, keychains, and prohibit the sale of any guns at this location. After all, if this was a gymnasium, would you be inclined to permit retail sales of Pelotons? Would you permit a Kawasaki dealer to open a dirt bike park and sell motorcycles? Rather than have to struggle with what appears to be clear-cut zoning, why not redirect this firearms business away to a non-residential district that will not be in distinct contrast to the intent of the CDC zoning? There's also the question of how a negative declaration was issued after the submission of a short-form environmental assessment survey for a property that not only includes wetlands, but was licensed to store toxic and hazardous waste. We wonder why the planning staff is saying that no further environmental review is necessary. And while this proposal is still pending, the company has been advertising that they're open in their new location and doing business. Google Gun Sales Riverhead and you'll see they're open most days from 10 to 6. You can drop by or give them a call, so their ad says. So in addition to wanting to bend the zoning to suit them, they're already not playing by the rules. I don't even think Mr. Cuddy would agree with that. Again, I'm not trying to stop any reputable business from coming into Riverhead, but businesses need to be appropriate for their location, and residential neighborhoods need to be respected, and the zoning code needs to continue to serve the communities it was written for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just, if I can, just so the board is aware, the Google pictures that are being referenced, the police department was out there yesterday, the fire marshal, and code enforcement. Those pictures were not taken at the 680 Elton location. They do not currently have any legal, lawful use to occupy that building for any capacity. Those pictures were taken from another location, and anybody can list any business at any location. I could turn my house into a music venue. Just because I do it on Google does not mean it actually exists. So, just to be clear, there are no firearms. There are no firearms being stored in that building right now. That was confirmed by the police department, the fire marshal, and code enforcement yesterday.
I just want to make clear that all the searches that I did today, because I'm aware that the police were there to shut them down because they were doing business, there are still sites you can go to that are connected to them that say, you know, please give us a call, we're still open. So, just so you know.
Good evening. My name is Juan Michelli Martinez. I'm a downtown Riverhead resident, also with the Heart of Riverhead Civic Association. I'm here to comment on 680 Elton, and the site is not appropriate for the use that they're asking for, and the accessory use more specifically to the proposed sale of firearms. The Secra Neg Deck, someone asked earlier, I think it was Mr. Denziewski, my mother actually worked at that facility. She retired from that facility in 2018, so I am aware of the chemicals and the materials that were stored and utilized there. It certainly seems bewildering to me that a negative declaration would have been put onto a facility such as this because of the sensitive areas that are surrounding it, but obviously that has been done. The sports and recreation use, as Cindy mentioned earlier, the original intended use was for things such as bowling, swimming, tennis, and not the use of firearms, so it certainly is not something that I would like to see there. Also, the downtown revitalization, the adjacent DC1, there's a lot of efforts going on to revitalize the downtown, making it more tourist friendly, to make it have more attractions for people to come. I think this use would be contrary to all the effort that has been put forth by with the town and revitalization. And not to mention that eventual expansion. It would almost make sense that at some point in time, we would start to look to other areas and change uses and allow residents, and to have that type of facility would negatively impact those potentials. And I'd also like to just applaud the town board for considering the moratorium in DC1 for the sale of firearms, and to hopefully consider that to be extended into the adjacent zone. And lastly, I'd just like to speak regarding Mr. Neosi directly. When we had our introductory meeting for the Heart of Riverhead Civic Association, Mr. Neosi misrepresented himself as to who he was and his intended use, or his intended business here in town. He actually, in fact, told us that he intended to sell ice cream. And so I have not seen any usage for the sale of ice cream in anything that has been proposed thus far. And so I just question whether or not we can trust his ability to accurately represent what he intends to do in the community. That is it. Thank you very much.
Greetings. My name is Eva Roberts. Just pull the microphone down.
Greetings, testing, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me now?
Yes. My name is Eva Roberts. I live right behind True Tech. I live right behind 680 Elton Street. I live in the Greens. I will say that I think just the idea of thinking of approving something like that, I don't know any other neighborhood that would, any of you that would want this abutting your property, a gun range. Now, some people might like it. Might be like a quick little run over to, do a little practice on the range. But for me, I don't want a shooting range. I think it, I don't want the variance. But I will say the way I really got involved with this is that not so long ago I was watching a car slowly move down Phillip Street, very slowly, and a man inside looking slowly at every single house, and then come back down the road. Now, this wasn't DoorDash. Wasn't a DoorDash driver looking for the right address. So I said to the man, part of our local neighborhood watch, that,
I said, what are you doing driving slowly all the way down the road and slowly all the way down the other way? And he said, that's exactly what I'm doing, quote unquote, driving slowly down the road and slowly all the way back. Wasn't really forthcoming. I didn't know until now
Can
that
you
he
address
just...
us, please?
What?
Can you address us so that?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So anyhow, so I said I was calling the police. And at that point he said, which is in the police report. Because I told the police when they came. He said, when I said I was calling the police, he said, you got to be careful. You don't know what kind of trouble you're getting yourself into, old lady. And if you read Riverhead Local, there was an article that afterwards he was asked about this, and he denied saying that. He said specifically he did not say that. Because I told the police it was a veiled threat. I want to say for tonight, though, I feel good about being here. Because, yeah, I thought of John Lewis. Be careful what kind of trouble you're getting yourself into. I know what kind of trouble I'm getting myself into. I'm getting into good trouble, necessary trouble. Thank you, John Lewis, for that. So, here's a man who, and I am going to go to the police department because this man has now said I have lied to a police officer. And I take offense to that.
I'm not sure that you can go to the police for hurt feelings, but.
Well, no, it's not hurt feelings. Ms. Waske?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm not talking about hurt feelings. Let me explain further. Let me explain that further, Ms. Waske. So what happens is, I call the police and I give a report. It says in here what I told the police officer. It says that I said that he told me I was going to get myself into trouble. Old lady. Now, I don't care about the old lady. I'm 62, okay? I want to be 63, all right? So, but my concern, just for your clarification and members of the board, that he is saying, by denying that I lied to a police officer when I said what I was clearly here in the police report.
Okay.
So that's not hurt feelings. He is saying basically that I lied to a police officer. Do you
Okay.
think that's...
We're not here to judge that. That's not what we're here for.
Wait a minute. I'm talking about... I'm really going to have to get to know you better, Ms. Waske, because I really don't get where you're coming from. I did want to bring out, because this seems to be a little personal, that when we first came in for the meeting, when we first started talking, you asked that people not attack members of the board. Do you usually ask people not to attack members of the board? Is that a usual procedure?
Well, when I hear yelling and screaming outside of the meeting while I'm trying to conduct further business in here from this seat, and I can hear yelling out there, I anticipate that at least one of you are going to come and there's going to be a confrontation, and here it is right now.
Well,
so if you would like to comment about anything that is involved in the site plan application, that's what this was supposed to be about.
This is the public comment section of this meeting, which is open to the public.
You're talking about a dispute that you had with the
Excuse me, I'm going to go on.
applicant.
The other thing you said, after saying you don't want to be attacked, is you described the conversation and the community connection that was happening in this lobby as a commotion. So that was also concerning to me. And actually, the more you speak, the more I'm concerned. Anyhow, I just
We're taking way too much time on this.
Well, you have expressed your sentiments on truth and justice, which is sad. So I'm going to encourage people to get involved, to speak up, to connect, because we have work to do.
Thank you.
Hello, Board. Frank Fisher, the owner of 48 Cromer. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been 5 years we've been working on this, Thank you to Mr. Murphy, thank you to the board, and thank you. We just 5 years, and we finally got there. So I appreciate you, everybody. Long road, appreciate all the feedback. We got to the finish line. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for waiting and
Yeah.
taking your time to get
My
up there
pleasure.
to say
We
that.
waited 5 years,
Thank you very
just
much.
nothing.
Good luck.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks.
Have a great evening.
You said no thank you, Sue. I think he covered all that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The thank yous came in handy.
Yeah,
We weren't getting many.
good timing.
Okay, that's it.
Okay.
We haven't got many thank yous.
Minutes?
Excuse me, John McAuliffe, could we clarify the statement about the Google? John McAuliffe, McAuliff. The Google statement, does this mean that people can simply make up an intended use and have Google put it on their map? I mean, it's really weird if that's the case. If you
I don't
can-
run Google, but yes, you
All right,
could list
all right.
a
Well,
business
then-
at your house, yes.
Then the question really that this board, the town board needs to answer is somebody who is so sure that he's going to get what he wants, that he's prepared to put a false advertising on Google or an anticipatory advertising on Google. I mean, it's a little weird, don't you think, that somebody would do that?
I would
Just
certainly
a
not do
little
that.
bit odd, and then what the implications.
We don't know what
We don't
his
have any
intention
control over that, and I
Well-
believe Greg said it was a picture of another location.
No, that's not what is on Google
Is that what you
Maps.
said, Greg?
Google Maps says specifically that location. It is a picture of a shop at that location. It's not any old shop, it's a shop at that location.
That picture on Google is not in that building. Unequivocally, the police department, the fire marshal, and code enforcement were out there. That picture that is on Google was not taken at 680 Elton Street.
But is publicly advertising that it is at that
That's
location
not in this
already.
board. That's not in this
It's not
board's purview.
saying to be constructed, to be available. In any case, it shows what he wants to do, and his presumptiveness that he's already got approval to do it is, I think, problematic, as well as what he wants to use
He
it
does
for.
not have an approvals. That's why the meeting was adjourned, because new information came to light. So those
Thank you.
firearms are not in 680 Elton, and that's why the applicant changed his mind, because I think maybe he saw the writing on the wall.
Thank you, Greg.
That's
Okay.
it. Thank you.
Phil Barbado, Jamesport. I'm also a co-founder of the Riverhead Neighborhood Preservation Coalition,
Can you speak up a little bit?
coalition of civic associations within the town of Riverhead. I think you've gotten some excellent comments from a number of people here tonight that should be thought-provoking and also lead us to the correct conclusion on this application. This is not the place for guns and shooting and that kind of activity. I think that there's some judgment that could be applied to exactly what is a recreational use, and I would hope that you folks apply that judgment correctly and do not allow this kind of activity to be included as recreational. This gentleman is going to be selling guns and promoting the use of guns in a residential neighborhood right next door to people and children running around in the streets, and a school, and this building itself. So please, common sense, calm thinking, look at the implications involved in this application here, and turn it down. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, my name is Karen Fredericks, I'm a resident of Mill Pond Commons.
Can you pull that down? I can't hear you.
I'm a resident of Mill Pond Commons, about 220 yards for the projected plan. Everything pretty much that I have here has already been said, other than one thing. So the CRC zoning specifies and is listed as offices, banks, schools, museums, parks, and playgrounds. A common theme of family, children, not a pistol range where you have to have a license. That's not the residents that live there. This is going to draw outside people. We have enough violence in this country right now, and I don't know if you're aware of it, but gun violation awareness is this month, and right now the president's speaking about it. Big problem. Now is not the time to approve this, just not the time, and it's really not the area for it. We all walk down the street, I see children, strollers. You wouldn't want it in your neighborhood, really. Have them go to Calverton shooting range, and they don't sell any arms there. You have to do your research on it. I did my homework on it, and the Calverton shooting range, they don't have the sales or rentals. Long Island Trap and Skeet, no sales at all. It's only going to create violence. People don't do the right thing anymore. Money talks, people are paid off with, they don't do the right thing. It's not a good area to do. And you're bringing down the value of our homes, our retirement that we work so hard for. We can't afford that. You're going to bring in a certain clientele when people start moving out, and we don't want to do that to Riverhead. We're trying to make it, we're redoing downtown Riverhead to become nice for people to come here and enjoy, not a pistol range. People are not going to enjoy that. You ask any parent with kids, they don't want to hear that. Look at the schools. They're all in an uprage right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Can we move?
Good evening, Barbara Blass, Jamesport. I have 4 pages of comments that I was going to make on the site plan, but I would much rather have them incorporated into the official public hearing record at the time that it's conducted. But I did want to say because I think it's really very relevant, that during last week's town board work session on May 26th, Town Attorney Howard and CDA Director Thomas presented a draft code amendment entitled Firearm Business Uses. I'm hoping that you're aware that this amendment is being considered. This would establish criteria for the siting and operations of farm businesses to maximize protection of public health and safety. It was introduced in furtherance of the implementation of the Pattern Book and other downtown initiatives. The legislation is tentatively scheduled for a public hearing on July 6th, and that's when the community really needs to come out and express to the town board their response and their input into a code that is going to regulate the siting and the conditions under which firearm businesses should be located in the town. So I'll reserve the rest of my comments, but I did want to put that on the record because I thought it would be beneficial at this time. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Hi, Taki Turchin, back up here for a quick compelling question. When I was speaking about the applicant's awareness of the restrictions of his business and also of sites where he would put it, I thought to ask, could it be found out why he's leaving his previous location in the course of things? Could we find out that curiosity? I know he's not here tonight to answer for himself, but if we could find that out, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, let's go on to the minutes.
I'll move the minutes of May 5th, 2022.
Second motion?
Vote please, Bear.
Yes.
O'Day.
What are we voting on? Minutes. Minutes.
Nenaro.
Aye.
Panaseski.
Aye.
Woski. O'Day, did we get
Aye or nay?
the minutes?
Minutes, aye.
Okay. Woski, aye.
I'd say yes.
Do we have any other business?
You want to move the minutes of 19?
Oh, we didn't do both of them?
I just did the 5th.
Oh,
I'll
I'm
move the minutes
sorry.
of
Okay.
May 19, 2022. So moved.
Second motion?
Okay, well, vote please.
What are we voting on? Minutes, the other minutes.
Okay. Bear.
A lot of minutes in it.
Yes.
O'Day.
Aye.
Nenaro.
Aye.
Panaseski.
Aye.
Woski, aye. Okay, we don't have any correspondences. Our next meeting date is Thursday, June 16th, 2022, at 3 o'clock. Can I have a motion to close?
So moved.
All in favor?
You missed some people on Zoom, I believe.
They can't Zoom on unless it's a public hearing.
Okay.
I think they were having it up for the public hearing.
There was no public hearing.
Very good.
All right.
Meeting's closed.
Meeting is closed.
I will not be at the 16th.